Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Mid-South Madness, week number 4 here on Speed Racing Network. We are here at Charlotte Motor Speedway at the Roval course for the Between the Lines 70. My name is Sean Griffith. I'm here with my broadcast partner, Thomas Rutherford. How's it going tonight, Thomas?
Going great, Sean. Happy to be here. We're going to be going 70 laps here tonight at the Roval. We're not going to be just turning left. We're going to be turning right, too. So looking forward to seeing the show these guys put on. What do you think, Sean?
Man, I really think this is going to be an interesting race. This is what's going to separate those people that just mash the pedal down from those people that actually get out there and race every single week where they do throttle that pedal a little bit. They do know their braking points. This is a tough track.
Yeah, and it's going to be really tough tonight, Sean, because we have 40 drivers on track. 40 drivers. We had 43 guys that wanted to race this race. And to put that in perspective, there's only 42 pit stalls here. So 40 guys on track is going to make for a lot of traffic, a lot of excitement. We'll see how they do.
And to make matters even crazier, no cautions tonight. It's only corner cautions, so there's not going to be full course cautions when there's a wreck. So if you spin out, you better get back on track as quickly as possible.
Yeah, and that's Grand Prix style, Sean. You know, when you go over to Europe, when you go through road course in the U.S., that's what they do. They call it localized cautions. It's not a whole field caution, so there's no reason to stop everybody on the track at once like we would at an oval track. But you're going to see a lot of guys off course tonight, and you're going to see a lot of those local cautions.
Yeah, really what I'm thinking is just stay clean. If you stay clean this entire race, you have a good shot at a top 10 because even the leaders at some point may be off track.
Absolutely they will, and one of the things in practice this week, we saw a lot of guys who were very fast, but we also saw a lot of guys who were very, very slick. It was like they were driving on ice after a few laps, and I was in a session earlier tonight with a lot of those guys that were fast early through the week. The track temp at one point was almost 120 degrees. I heard Danny Dow, I think it was, he said one thing that doesn't mix is cold tires and a hot track, and you saw that in practice throughout the week, and we're going to see it again tonight.
Yeah, and these walls are very, very unforgiving here. Once you start spinning, you're going to hit that wall, and you're going to have to use one of your two fast repairs, which will separate you from the pack.
Absolutely, and you know, those fast repairs are going to help some guys tonight. There's not going to be a lot of damage, and I say that, I don't think there's going to be, Sean. We could be surprised, but you're gonna lose it off course. You're gonna either have slick tires and get loose, or you're going to hit some dirt and it's gonna throw you off track. But one interesting thing about this track is you're off the throttle almost as much as you're on the throttle. So it's some slow moving corners, some fast moving corners, and everything in between.
Definitely. This is not like it was last week. Last week in Atlanta, it was mainly just push the gas and go. Yeah, you had to get off the gas a little bit, but a lot of people gained points last week because they were able to separate themselves away from the pack. Great race last week.
Absolutely. It was a great race last week, and Atlanta was everything we expected it to be. We called it the midnight cheese grater race for a reason. These guys were really either wearing out, they're really conservative with them, and if you were fast early, you tended to slow down throughout the race. So don't think we're going to see the same thing here tonight with a completely different dynamic.
Definitely. Well, let's see what that did with our standings last week. Let's pull those up. All right, so yeah. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, Sean, you know, the first name that sticks out, Robert Brill up there with do-gooders. We've seen some strong driving out of him so far this season.
Yeah, he's been very, very consistent. He's always up front. He's always there at the end of the race. He may not win every single race. He did win the first one, but he may not win every race, but he always gives himself a chance.
Yeah, absolutely. And you got Troy Dow there in second place. You know, he's my pick for tonight. I'm just going to let you know that up front. Dean Brummett right there behind him is Stryker Motorsports, and you see there in the top 5, you got 2 Stryker Motorsports cars. Unfortunately, I do believe, Sean, Jake Roval will not be competing tonight, correct?
That's correct. Jake Roval will not be with us tonight. So we do have a wide open field tonight. There have been some big players that have put in a lot of time, a lot of big times up there, but we just never know what's going to happen until we actually get out there on the racetrack.
Yeah, absolutely. And you got Adam Pettit and Sean Dice there from Rev'd Racing. Good to see them up there. Then you got Danny Dow the older and in his mind more experienced of the two Dows there for Team SRN. So good to see them turning it around as well as we get a few races into this season.
Yeah, and let's jump on down that list there. Look at number 15, our first independent out there. That's Matthew Johnson. So he is just sneaking in. He's just ahead of A.J. Pritchett there on the cut line.
Yeah, and something to take note of there with Johnson. It's not just Johnson that we're going to see tonight. You've got Boyles, Beyer, Emerson, Stanley, Woodard, Spees. All these guys are independents, and they're starting to make up a larger portion of this field. Even though we've really focused on the teams for this season, you're going to see some of these independents start really picking it up and challenging a lot of these 3- and 4-man teams.
You bet. So everybody take a picture of this leaderboard here because it is going to change tonight. So get ready.
No, absolutely it is. You're going to see some guys you would expect to be up front struggle tonight. And you're going to see some guys we haven't seen yet start to challenge up front.
Well, we talked about how difficult this track is, and I have it on good authority that you, my friend, were out there on the track and that you ran a lap to show us kind of what's going on.
Yeah, absolutely we did. We took out the now throwback paint scheme in the pink SRI, which is a Speed Racing Network Toyota Camry. So let's take a lap around this track here and show you what we're talking about with the difficulty of trying to drive and do it consistently. So here we are in the number 64 Toyota Camry, or Toyota Supra, excuse me.
All right, I'm just going to run it through, and you take it from here.
All right, Sean, so we're crossing the start-finish line after our warm-up lap. We're hard on the gas. Right here, we're shifting down to second, rolling through this corner, back on the gas, up over the hill here. Again, off the gas, no brake. We're rolling. There's a lot of rolling through these corners, like I said. Swift, fast turns. Right here, tapping the brake to set the nose, and right here, we're just rolling through the corner, just tapping the gas. Want to get a good launch off right here. Use all that tarmac all the way out to the edge there. It's going to be a tricky corner here. It's all about rhythm and cadence. We're going to tap the brake, set the nose, shift into second, get as close to this inside wall as possible. We're going to get back on the gas and then roll right here through this left-hander. Now this is really, really tough. Off camber coming over that hill. Want to spin out. Right here we're going to get onto the speedway. So this is the part of Charlotte most people are used to. This is the high banking coming through turns 1 and 2. And we are going to run this thing out, Sean. We are going to peg it. You're going to see that tack hit red here in a minute. About the time it does, you're going to see the 5 on the right, brake hard, down through the gears, third, second, off the brake, and down through this bus stop. That's a tough, tough section. You can see the car get off the ground there, and we're hard back on the gas and back onto the banking. This is normally turn 3 and 4 here at Charlotte, so we're giving it everything she's got again, and we're going to go through our last little technical section here. We're going to start braking, shift into third, roll the car out, shift into second. We're going to see if we can get over these curbing, hang that left, and you're right back here at the start-finish line, and that is a lap at the Roval.
Wow, just so much stuff going on there. Really, really tough track. Can't wait to see how 40 guys do that all at the same time. But Thomas, that wasn't the only thing you did this weekend or this week.
No, absolutely, Sean. It was a busy week. We actually got a chance too on TR's Corner to catch up with Adam Pettit from Revved Racing.
All right, let's pull up TR's Corner and let's say hi to Adam Pettit.
Hey folks, welcome to TR's Corner. This is week 3 and we're here with Adam Pettit. Adam Pettit from Revved Racing. New name to the league this year, new team to the league this year, new format with the league settings. You're sitting 6th in points after 3 races coming out of Atlanta. Your team's right there in the power rankings. Sitting in first place, 250 points, but you got Stryker Motorsports at 248. Tell us a little bit about the rankings, where you're at. How do you feel so far for the season?
So Atlanta we all got caught in trouble with that one. 3 of us were going down pit road when that caution came out. So we've kind of changed some team orders so we don't all get stuck like that anymore. But I think you guys can count on us staying number 1 there in the points. And then I think the power ranking that we fell to 2, I think that'll jump back up to 1. So I'm not too worried about it. We're putting in a lot of time and effort.
So, with the power rankings being based on the team aspect, right? I raced in season 1. We didn't have the team aspect. They started to form through the season. We've talked about that a little bit here on TR's Corner. Starting to see some rivalries take place or start to build up. How did your team, Revved Racing, it's got you, Aaron Gurwitz, Brian O'Shell, you got Marshall Stanley, who has been putting down some fast lap times in Roval practice this week. Give us a little bit of background for our viewers about your iRacing and how that team came together.
Yeah. So I started iRacing probably 10 years ago, stuck to the Legends cars, and then I just kind of got busy with work and everything else, and I just didn't have time for iRacing anymore, so I set it down. And then when I got married, obviously stable home, stable work, stable everything, so it was really easy for me to get back into it. And I actually started with NASCAR Heat 4, and then I was like, oh, there's that iRacing. So I got back in that and started getting into leagues because the official races were just junk. And that's where I met Sean Dice and Marshall Stanley. I run with them in another league. And then I was reaching out about how to build a button box, and that's where I found Brian O'Shell. And then I started making the button boxes, and then that's where Aaron Gerwitz came. He bought one from me and was new to iRacing. And so we all just kind of ran together, and then this league popped up because I was having paints done by Corey, Paints by Night, and he said, hey, I got a league if you're interested. And I said, well, it's not just me. It would be a team of 5 people. And he said, well, we can only allow 4, but you can have a sub. So that's how all of us kind of got into it. And I figured, we're all kind of tired of running with the aliens, so to speak, right? And I think now maybe that might be us. But I'm always willing to help people as much as I can. I know at Atlanta, and those were the guys that were up in the top 15. So I'm willing to do that every single week. If anyone has any questions, just reach out to me.
Awesome. Well, and that's good backstory there too, because I know I've seen pictures of some of your product you've put together. Most recently, I think there was a 3D printed wheel dash that you put together with some button mounts on it. Yeah, we'll have to talk about one of those on
that. And I actually just made this today. I made myself a sequential shifter, bought a part from Amazon and threw it up in CAD and printed it out last night and got it this morning and put it all together. So
it's awesome. Have you tested it yet?
No, it hasn't gone. It hasn't gone testing on the rig yet. I've done testing on the computer to make sure that it'll work, but it's going on the rig tonight, and I'm going to practice it at the Roval because I want to be gone all weekend. So I'm going to need to practice that tonight to make sure come Sunday I'm ready to go. So
awesome. Well, I'll definitely see you on the track tonight. And I've got one last question for you. Mid-South Madness, you talked about the leagues, being in other leagues, running with the aliens. What do you like about Mid-South Madness so far, and what are your hopes for the rest of the season?
The competition is a lot tighter. With the I rating, staying at 2,500 as the max, you don't get those crazy fast guys. You get a lot more guys that are, more comparable. We all have pretty much the same kind of skill sets, so to speak. And it's definitely a league that I would love to run in, for a long time. I've made a lot of great friends so far in this league. Like I said, I've been in a lot of other leagues, and I haven't made near the quality of friends nor the amount of friends so far that I've met with MSM. So definitely plan on staying here for the long term, and hopefully that means, wins, championships, all that kind of stuff, and not just, me personally, but my team as well. We're just going to keep putting in the practice to get there.
You guys have some bad, fast, hot rods. Really looking forward to the Roval this weekend. Sunday night's going to be excellent. Tonight's race is going to be excellent. So I think we might see a Rev'd Racing car at the top. Hopefully so.
I think you will. I don't think it would be one of the 4 Rev'd Racing cars. I think it's going to be our partner team. We kind of joke because we all run forwards. We're like the Penske, and Marshall Stanley is kind of like the Wood Brothers racing car. That's why he's got it painted like he does. So I think you're going to see him in victory lane. I would be very shocked if you don't. But also, don't sleep on, some of the other Rev guys. I know Brian's been putting in a lot of time, Sean and Aaron. So I think we all could have, good top 15 finishes at this race.
Awesome. Well, looking forward to it. Appreciate having you on TR's Corner. Take care. We'll see you on the track tonight.
All right. Thank you very much, guys. I appreciate it.
All right, Thomas, there was TR's Corner. Another great time there. I got to tell you, everybody says that nice guys finish last, but Adam Pettit is proving that wrong week in and week out.
Yeah, and it was great to catch up with Adam Pettit this week. I mean, not only as an individual, just a great all-around guy. We talked about, his button boxes. He showed you the shifter there, but Rev'd Racing, what a team, what a performance they're putting on. Sean, you can see it right here in the team standings. Rev Racing 250 points, but they got somebody right on their tail.
They do. Stryker Motorsports has been catching up really, really quickly. They're only 2 points behind. Keep in mind that the points are done off the top 3 finishers, and as we stated before, Jake Roval, one of the top drivers for Stryker Motorsports, is not here tonight, so that could be a big detriment.
The same goes for our third place team right now, Stake Dance Racing. Solid team, solid drivers, 225 points. They're right there on the heels of Stryker and on Rev Racing, but they're missing, I think, what was going to be a fan favorite tonight in Daniel Bodler. He was not able to make it tonight. We thought he might have something up his sleeve. He didn't make the practices this week, figured he was running on his own, but he's not going to make it for their team tonight.
Yeah, very, very disappointing for that team, but still 3 great racers on that team. I think they should be okay. Then we have the do-gooders, which has been the surprise of the year. We have Bobby Brill, of course, our points leader, but then 3 other teammates doing very, very well for the do-gooders up there in 4th place.
Yeah, absolutely. They have been the surprise of the season so far. Hopefully they can continue that momentum. Behind them, you've got Tank Racing, and Tank Racing's a little bit of the opposite. I think we expected to see with Zimmerman, Lepicki, and some of those other guys really turn it on early in the season. They've got into some accidents early. They've got into some accidents with themselves early. So hopefully they can get it turned around tonight. Not sure if the Roval is going to be the place to do it, though.
Another team that's really been a disappointment this year, more to themselves than to anybody else, Team SRN. And I stated a little bit earlier this week that I want to believe in this team. I want this team to do really, really well, but they just haven't shown that to us yet. But one day, all 4 of them will get on the same track. And if that happens, watch out.
Well, I can tell you what, we're going to Talladega next week, Sean. That's where their bread and butter is going to be.
You bet. You bet.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll see how they can do tonight, but behind them, they've got Hard to Kill Motorsports, H2K, a little guy named Joseph DuPont. We're seeing him run out there on the practice laps right now in that black and red car he's got, that Toyota Supra. He's pretty tough on these road courses.
Yeah, he's going to be a tough one tonight. Then we have Jam Racing, 139 points, kind of way back there, but still have a chance to get back in that. So they've had some trouble these first 3 races. Hopefully today is a turning point for them.
Yeah, hopefully so. They've definitely kind of been the back marker. I know we've got in 9th place, we've got Wild Bill Motorsports. They've got a driver inside of the top 5 in individual points. I think they've had a driver change tonight, Sean. They've got an addition to their team. Is that right?
They have. One of their drivers just wasn't able to make it each week, and so they went out and they got a new driver. And so we're going to see a little bit of a change tonight.
And that rounds out our team standings after Week 3 at Atlanta, coming into Week 4. So now it's time for
the Paints by Night team introductions. So Paints by Night, follow Ashton Knight on Trading Paints. Check out all of his paint schemes. A lot of great paint schemes out there. Give him a follow. Those paint schemes are available for sale on SpeedRacingNetwork.com.
And I can tell you, it seems like each week we know he has a bunch of cars he's painted in the field. Seems like there's more each week. So here we've got Rev'd Racing. We just talked about these guys, Adam Pettit, Aaron Gerwitz, Sean Dice, and Brian O'Shell. I think these guys are amped up and excited for tonight.
Yeah, but we were saying Stryker Motorsports is right on their heels. Number 44, Andrew Schroeder. Number 25, Dean Brummett. Number 71, Travis Trevelyan. And again, number 9, Jake Roel. Last week's winner is not here tonight. So 3 guys, they're going to have to pick up the slack there.
Yeah, shame Jake can't be here tonight. I'm sure he would have rode the wave off that momentum from the win as he came onto this track, but not going to see him here tonight. But Stryker Motorsports is still going to be strong. And then we've got Stake Dance, again, kind of the same issue they're running through with the number 6 of Bodler there, not going to be able to compete tonight. But I can assure you we've got Chad Wampler, Troy Dow, and Stan Hausman. These guys are pretty strong, especially the number 2 there of Troy Dow in practice this week.
Yeah, they've been practicing all week. They're ready to roll. Then we have, like we said before, the surprise of the league, the do-gooders. So we've got number 1, Bobby Brill, number 24 of Taylor Smith, number 90 of Corey Knight, and number 93 of Brad Yonkman. So 4 very good guys, and really they call themselves the do-gooders because they just do good, and there they are. So they're climbing up the ranks.
There's not much, they don't have to do much gooder than they've been doing to stay on top, so hopefully they can just maintain tonight. But I think I told you Troy Dow's my pick off of SRN, Sean. I think you've got a pick on this.
I do. I am picking Bobby Brill. I've been watching him all week. I know that Marshall Stanley has been out there out front and everything, but Bobby Brill has just been consistent. So I think it's going to be an interesting race.
Absolutely. And then we have from Tank Racing, the strong lineup. Again, we talked about them in the power rankings. Not the points don't reflect the talent on this team. I'll put it to you that way. You got the 46 of Michael Lepicki, 31 of Devin Zimmerman, the 555 of Derek Da Silva, and the 79 of AJ Pritchett. These guys, they just need a break, Sean. I mean, they've been running well. They've been practicing. I know if any team puts in a lot of work during the week, especially as a team, it's these guys. So hopefully they can turn it around tonight.
That's right. Then we have Team SRN. That's Brandon Browning, number 18, the number 78 of David Duke, the number 17 of Danny Setzer, number 21 of Danny Dow. And interesting thing this week, Danny Setzer didn't think that he was going to be able to race this week, but he got himself a new wheel, or at least a spare wheel, so he is out there on the track.
Yeah, and so Danny had in iRacing, you have computer failure, you have sim rig failure, all those things can happen. It's no different. We don't look at it any different anyway than if you were racing in real life and a battery fell out of a car. I think there was some tungsten that fell out of a car a few weeks ago before the season got put on hold. So I mean, we look at them as mechanical failures, just like you would on a race car. It just happens to be it might be your PC sitting in your game room.
That's right. All right, and then we have Jam Racing, number 5 of Mike Lewis, Jay Graves Jr., then Joe Ruggles Jr., and then Brandon Arciero. Brandon is actually not going to be here tonight either, so another team that kind of has their back up against the wall tonight.
You know, kind of funny because we talk about how these teams, we started the season talking about how the teams are going to be the thing this year. And now we've got some of our top teams are missing a driver tonight, and we've still got 40 guys racing in this field. That's amazing, Sean. That's a great turnout. You don't see 40 cars racing in iRacing all the time.
No, you certainly don't. And then finally rounding it out, Wild Bill Motorsports. So we have Wild Bill Spears, number 77, the number 84 of Greg Olnick. That's their new driver this week. Number 55, Gary Ragland, and number 83 of Chris Massey, who's been coming on really strong.
And again, Chris Massey's up there individually towards the top in points. He's been running very consistent, very strong races. I don't look for that to be any different out of him tonight. Get to see what Greg Olnick's made of, but when you combine that team together with what Massey's been doing, if they can just get on the same page as a team, I think you're going to see a strong showing.
You bet. Now, let's talk about what these guys are really going after here. We don't do this just for fun. It is fun, but we don't do this just for fun. We do it for some money. So these are the season-long payouts. We've got the Paints by Night Do-Gooder Safe Driver Award. So the safest driver out there is going to get 50 points at the end of the season. There's also a race-by-race thing for that as well that Thomas will tell you about here in a second. Now we have a new one. Brookstone Animal Hospital is putting together a Man's Best Friend Award. So this is going to be voted by the drivers for the person out there that is just the best person in the league, the best human being in the league. So that's going to be $50. Then the season-long team championship, we've been talking about it all night long. That's $200 to the top team. And then the season-long grand champion, the granddaddy of them all, whoever wins the individual championship will get $500.
And all those prizes are great, and it's great to see that Man's Best Friend Award, Sean, because I can already tell you one thing. I can pick out some names that aren't going to win it, and I can pick out a lot of names that could win it. So we'll see how it progresses through the season, but that is a driver vote, so that'll be interesting. As far as your race payouts tonight, we've got 40 drivers in the field. What does that mean? More purse money for the race. So first place is $80 tonight. I think that's our highest purse, Sean, right?
It is. It's our highest purse so far.
Yeah, so $80 for first place. Second place is $45. Third place is $25. You can see down the grid there how it progresses. But still, if you finish in eighth, you're going to get your money back. And also, as Sean pointed out, not only do you have the season-long winning Paints by Night Do-Gooders Clean Race bonus, but you also have a per-race bonus. Not sure if anybody's going to get that tonight unless you're that first-place car.
Yeah, and even then, it's going to be tough to stay on the track the entire time. So if you mess up just once, you don't qualify for that clean race bonus. All right, well, we would not be anywhere without our sponsors. So let's talk about them really quick. So first off, CMC Fabrication. They sponsored our first race, they're sponsoring our last race, and they're sponsoring our entire season, CMC Fabrication.
And what a great partner in CMC Fabrication. Then also we have Dent Wizard. Dent Wizard is sponsoring all of our rec replays. They're a primary sponsor along with CMC this year. Happy to have them on board, but not sure if they're going to be able to fix any of these cars after tonight.
That's right. Griffith CPA firm, doing taxes for over 35 years. Griffith CPA firm, small family firm, but always growing.
Brookstone Animal Hospital, glad to have them on board, especially as a sponsor with the Driver's Best Friend Award. Thank you for your sponsorship.
Silverback Tax Solutions. Griffith CPA does the taxes. Silverback Tax Solutions takes care of tax issues that you have with the IRS. So if you have a tax problem, Silverback Tax Solutions, they're the guys to talk to.
Paints by Night, again, check them out, speedracingnetwork.com. You can reach out, and Corey Knight with Paints by Night will do whatever type of iRacing paint scheme you're looking for. Again, check out the cars on the track tonight. Check out Paints by Night.
All right, and so we are not very far away from the start of this Between the Lines 70. I believe we're about 5 minutes away here. Everybody's trying to get in their qualifying laps right now. We will try to get a couple of people up in the booth to talk to see how they're planning on doing on this race. You know what? Let's see if we can get a couple of our SRN guys in here to explain how they're going to climb up these rankings. We'll let them finish up their qualifying laps, and then we'll try to get them in here. We'll try to get Brandon Browning up here, and then and maybe Danny Dow as well. So maybe we can hear their strategy.
It would be good to talk to both of those guys. I know they've been putting in the work this week. Danny's got a little bit extra he's been putting in, I think, because that 2 car that also has the Dow name behind it has been giving him a run for his money. Those guys have been swapping back and forth on the leaderboards during the open practices. Right up to the last minute before practice for this session, those guys were swapping paint back and forth. So look for them. If they're close on the track tonight, they're going to put on quite a show.
Yes, they are. So let's see if we can get one of those guys up here. I believe Brandon's just finishing up his lap, and Danny as well. He's just finishing up his. So we'll check out and see how Brandon's doing, and then we'll call him up here to the booth.
Yeah, I don't really see him on track right now, Sean. I think I can get him up here if he's done. Do you see if he's done?
Yes, he is done with his second lap.
All right, we'll see if we can get old Brandon Browning up here and see what his strategy is for the evening. Brandon, you got us?
Yeah, man, I got a copy. What's going on, guys?
Man, all good here. So how did qualifying go for you?
About as bad as it could go. I guess I jumped the last chicane on my first lap and carried the penalty over to the second lap, so I didn't get to qualify, so I'm going to start somewhere at the back.
Well, that might be the place to start tonight, just looking at practice this week and looking at track temps and the way they've been tonight. You know, do you see any struggles with grip in the race car?
Grip in the race car, I think the race car feels great. It's a little bit on the tight side. As you were saying, though, I think the biggest issue we're going to see, we cannot go too wide through turns 2, right through there where it kind of pinches down. I wanted to start in the back anyways. Ironically, that's not exactly how I had in mind, but, you know.
Hey, man, that's the way it works sometimes. So we've been talking about Team SRN has kind of, and in our words, you can be mad at us if you want, they've kind of been the disappointment of the league so far. What are you guys going to do to get back into this thing?
First of all, I'm not going to get mad. I absolutely agree with you. You know, we know what every one of our guys can do. You know, we ran great last season, but the game plan really, you know, has been to just piece it together piece by piece. You know, Rome wasn't built in a day. And if we want to have that empire that we know we can be, we've got to build it slowly, brick by brick. And I think it really shows, you know, some days we've had off days, some days we've had on days. Once we start hitting like a well-oiled machine and we're clicking off lap times that are as good as we know and we're running up front where we should be, I think, you know, we'll be a force to be reckoned with.
Well, Brandon, other than you and that number 18 Dent Wizard Team SRN car, who else do you think is going to be strong tonight?
I'll give you 2 guys that I think, or I'll give you 3 guys. I'll give you 3. Danny Dow, my teammate, I think he's going to be tough. I think he'll be at the front most of the night. I'll put him in order as well. Second on the list, I think Justin Boyles. Justin Boyles is a dark horse. I got to call his race at Infineon, as I was telling him a little while ago. He's a heck of a road course driver, man, and I think he could really kind of make some noise here at the end of this thing. He's a smart driver, a great driver. And Marshall Stanley. I've ran so many races with Marshall Stanley, and I've yet to find a car that man can't drive. He's quick in everything he puts his feet to, and as long as he keeps it on track and barring any crazy things, I'd just about say that's a surefire pick tonight.
Well, it looks like right now he's got the pole position, Marshall Stanley does, and that's really where he's been all week long for practice. Man, just can't wait to get this thing started. We really appreciate you dropping by.
Oh, no problem. I thank you, Sean, and definitely you, Mr. Rutherford. I forgot my squeak toy. I didn't bring it to the table with me here. So
That's okay.
You guys have a good one and enjoy the excitement.
That's okay, Mr. Browning. Be pulling for you. Take care. Have good luck.
I appreciate it, man. You guys have a good one. Thank you, guys.
All right. Well, we still got a little bit of time here. Let's see if we can get Danny Dow up here and see what he thinks about that pick.
Yeah, so we'll go down and grab Danny, and we'll bring him up here in the booth. Danny Dow, how you doing? You got a copy?
Hey, man, what's happening?
Oh, not too much. Not too much. You're looking okay on the leaderboard so far tonight. What are you thinking about the track so far?
Man, I think it's going to be a long race. I'm hoping that we can get through these first few turns without being too aggressive and everybody giving and taking, and hopefully everybody settle in single file, and let's see what we got, at the end.
Well, man, we've been talking to Brandon Browning. We asked him a question. I'm going to ask you the same one. Team SRN's kind of back in the standings right now. What can you guys put together tonight and maybe even next week at Talladega to get back into this thing?
I think if we can just all get a top 15 finish tonight and then go to a track that I think we can excel on at Talladega, it'll be a different story than Daytona. We just had some bad luck fall our way there, and hopefully we're slowly climbing that ladder. I think we'll be back up there when it counts.
And that's funny you mentioned that, Danny, about Talladega, because Sean and I were talking earlier in the broadcast and the pre-race show about that fact that next week we go to Talladega. Strong plate guys on our team. You guys run well together. You can stick it nose to tail better than anybody else. I think it scares the rest of the pack a little bit. But tonight, you've been running against some other folks this week in practice, like that number 2 car quite a bit. I think you got a good chance. What do you think?
Man, I've put in a lot of laps this week. I'm no road course racer, but I'm very pleased with where I started and where I've ended up. So, like I said, we just hope to keep everything clean and see how this shakes out.
Well, man, it's looking pretty good for you right now. It looks like you might be starting second row. You're currently in 4th position there, so really, really good qualifying lap there. You think you can hold it together for a solid 30 laps?
I'm hoping so. Like I said, a top 10 would be awesome.
Well, I know we're gridding up here. We're going to send you back down to your teammates, but somebody's coming over the race control radio. Is that the pace car driver?
Yeah, I've been tasked with the job of trying to figure a way to get Jason Tripp to the front of the field. After long talks with iRacing, we finally decided to make him an honorary pace car member. That way he'll know what it feels like to lead the field to green.
That's awesome, Danny. That's awesome. Well, we appreciate you coming up here. Good luck tonight. We're going to send you back down to your team.
Thank you. I appreciate you. Have a good night.
All right, well, let's go through this starting grid here really quick. Looks like Marshall Stanley, the guy that has been running every single practice, he's been up front. He qualified first by almost a full second, Thomas.
Almost a full second. He probably actually, Sean, lost some time compared to how he's been running this week with these guys. So almost a full second with Bobby Brill, your pick, right behind him, but good to see Bobby up there and that consistency on qualifying, keeping up with Bobby Brill there with the do-gooders starting off second.
Dean Brummett from Stryker Motorsports already with a win under his belt as well. He's up there in 3rd. And then your pick, Danny Dow, in 4th.
Yeah, Danny Dow, we just talked to him, had him up here in the booth. He's been going back and forth with Jason Tripp in our IVCS quite a bit. They'll make jokes about time travel, basically, Sean. Somebody's in tomorrow and somebody else is in yesterday. So Danny's fast. Danny's got something to prove here tonight. Good to see Team SRN up there.
Yeah, and we got Matthew Johnson. He's our first independent. We talked about him earlier on in the broadcast. He is sitting on the cut line right now, but he qualified 5th place. He's really good at these road courses.
Yeah, and somebody else that's really good at these road courses too, Sean, is Joseph DuPont. Good to see him in that H2K Motorsports car up there. Still, 6th place, 1.66 seconds behind Marshall Stanley in 1st. But I think DuPont's going to make some ground up from that starting position.
Oh, definitely. And Justin Boyle's another independent there. He runs in the IVCS as well. Really strong racer in his own right. He is independent, but, man, he is always up there towards the front.
Yeah, he is, and we talked about Stake Dance Racing being up there near the front too as well, but instead of Daniel Bodler, it's Chad Wampler starting there in top 10, starting at 8th position.
That's right, and a name that we got familiar with last season, and now it looks like he's going to stick his nose in this thing, is Mike Lepicki. He's up in 9th.
Yeah, and look right behind him. Devin Zimmerman in the number 31 car rolling off 10th. 2 Tank Racing cars there in the top 10. Good to see.
Man, anytime they get together, it gets interesting. Then we have Jay Graves from Jam Racing in 11th.
And then you've got Stan Hausman with Stake Dance Racing in 12th. Hey, Tank Racing guys, if you can hear me, don't wreck each other. Stay clean. You guys have good cars, and I want to see you do well tonight. I'm rooting for those guys there in 9th and 10th.
All right. Well, it looks like they are pulling off. It looks like we're going to get started here very shortly. We're going to go around once and then get this party started.
Yeah, and again, talking about the Roval a little bit, Sean, everybody knows Charlotte Motor Speedway in Concord, North Carolina. It's a great tri-oval track. It's where they've held the All-Star race all but twice in the NASCAR's history. But this configuration is totally different. We took you on a lap around it. You've seen some practice. You've seen the qualifying. You know, this is 2.28 miles, 12 turns. This is a beast of a track. And if you're side by side with somebody, there's not a lot of room to get through these turns doing that.
That's right. And not really sure what's going on with the scoring right now, but we do have Marshall Stanley up front here. Bobby Brill on his outside. Not sure why it's scoring him as 37th right now, but that will get fixed as we come across the start-finish.
Yeah, and you've got race control right now talking to these guys, just telling them be patient. There's no cautions tonight. There's going to be some localized yellows, but it's not going to stop the field. That's just if somebody goes off the track again. This is a very tough track. We don't expect this race to last too awfully long because we don't have the cautions, but the patience is still going to be needed by these guys in order to have a good, clean race.
I'm not sure if you're going to get patience from this group. This group really wants to get going. They really want to get after it, and they do. They go after it really hard.
Yes, they do, and you can see there you've got, it looks like a lot of guys going through the chicane. And I know they talked about it earlier in the race. You do not have to go through that chicane. You can actually pass straight through the paint on your way to the start. So looks like they've got it under control, though, and we're going to have a good, clean green flag here, Sean.
Yeah, but we're about to get going here. They're going to go through turns 3 and 4 right here, and then they're going to go pass through that one last chicane, and then I think we're going to get this party started. So let's have a little bit of fun tonight.
So, Sean, you want to change your pick, or are you good where you're at?
I'm good where I'm at. I think I'm going to stick with Bobby Brill. So here we go. We're going to go through this chicane, just go straight through it, knock out all the cones, and there he goes. Marshall Stanley off to a big lead. Oh, and Bobby Brill into the wall,
Bobby
first
Brill,
turn.
straight into the wall. Man, was not expecting that, Sean. I knew somebody was going to wreck, but I did not expect Bobby Brill to be the guy to drive it straight in the wall there.
Neither did I, so maybe I should have changed my pick.
Well, maybe it was me, Sean, because I can tell you, and you can attest to this, after the first 3 weeks, apparently I am the Madden of or the Madden curse of picking drivers for races. So maybe me saying change your pick caused that to happen. Who knows?
Well, it looks like Dean Brummett is trying to get to the tail of Marshall Stanley here. He's going to try to track him down.
Yeah, and Brill's back off and running too. He's got no hood, but that car seems to be driving straight. Again, this track's a road course. You're not going to have that same aero effect, so you can take a lot of sheet metal damage on the car and still be able to drive that thing with some speed.
And it looks like Marshall Stanley is going to just jump out to a nice little lead. Once again, the scoring is incorrect. Marshall Stanley is out front right now. I'm not sure why iRacing scoring is a little bit off there, but he is out in the front.
And that's okay, because we're here to call the race for you. So I can tell you that right now we're seeing some good battles all over the track. You got Stanley way out front. You got Brill. You've got the 555 De Silva, the 78 of David Duke. They're 3 wide, Sean, towards the back of the pack.
Well, let's just go and see what all we can see here, because I mean it's fun to sit here and watch Marshall Stanley just lead the pack, but let's see where everybody else is at. So we're just going to jump mid-pack here with our guest on TR's Corner, Adam Pettit. Let's see where he's at.
You can see Pettit there. He's in 14th or 15th, actually. Looks like he's right there behind the 84, and he'll make up some ground on these guys. He was very patient this week in practice, so no doubt he's going to have some tires saved up, and he'll be making some passes later.
Yeah, patience is definitely a key on this track. You cannot go too fast or you will spin out.
Yeah, and you've already heard Race Control in the other channel chatting about being patient, slowing down, letting cars go around you if you're not as fast, so that way you're not holding up the rest of the field. And I think we got a couple of cars doing that. We got a couple of cars pulling away, though.
Yeah, well, if you're looking at the top 12 right now, 3 of those top 12, we were talking about how Stake Dance Racing is down a man today, but all 3 of those remaining racers are up in the top 12 right now.
Well, and I'm sure wherever he's at, Daniel Bowdler is very happy to see that. Going to keep that team in the power rankings if they can hold those positions.
Yeah, and you were talking about a little bit earlier, Joseph DuPont. Watch out for him in the number 88. He is a road course master. He was up front all last season on the road courses. So this is one of his chances to really get up there in the victory circle.
And I can't remember where he finished. I know it was a top 3 last year because I finished 3rd behind him. I don't think he won the race, but he was very strong here. But you can see Chad Wampler there giving him a run for his money in that 812 Stake Dance racing car.
All right.
Picky on him too. So strong cars right there.
Yeah, but right back up front, we got Marshall Stanley up in first place. He's opened up a 2.5-second gap on Dean Brummett in second.
Yeah, and it looks like we got our scoring back up and running there, Sean. So you got Brummett behind him, Johnson, Dow, Boyles. You know, a lot of names up there we talked about being some of the favorites tonight.
That's right. Well, let's take a look really quick. A new little segment for us this week. We're going to try the Gopher Cam with Brookstone Animal Hospital.
And these are really, really good camera angles, Sean. They're really going to give you the sense of speed on these cars. Oh, look at them leaving the ground there as they come through the corners. So you're really going to get some good views here of what it's like for these guys to go around the Roval.
A lot of speed being carried through those corners. That's tough to do without spinning out.
Absolutely it is, and as these tires go away, that's where we're going to see those localized cautions. You're going to see more and more of these guys getting off the track, getting the rear ends, sliding out. You saw a couple of them already doing it. Not Marshall Stanley, though. This thing looks hooked up into the racetrack, Sean.
Yes, it does. I'm trying to look back through the pack and see who he's going to catch first. It looks like he might catch A.J. Pritchett and Josh Witt here pretty shortly.
And I can tell you right now, I just saw the 31 car of Devin Zimmerman. Sad to see. He was running so good there. He was right there running with his teammate, the 46 of Lepicki, and it looks like he caught the wall and spun around. So he's having to fall back about 8 or 9 positions there, Sean.
Man, it is really neat to see that speed. And once again, that's Brookstone Animal Hospital. That's the Gopher Cam.
Very cool shots. Very cool shots. Let's see what's going on with the rest of our pack as we go back to a higher view. Kind of see how these positions have shifted. As you can see in the top 15, we've had some guys fall out of that. So I would venture a guess that we've already got some guys making some mistakes out on track. Like I said, the 31 of Zimmerman, he was running good. He got caught up there and lost about 10 positions. And you've seen Graves, you've seen the number 2 of Dow. You've got some of the other independents as well pulling up there in the top 15.
Yeah, it looks like 3 of the top 4 are independents. We're just watching Marshall Stanley here for a second because he is about to catch Josh Witt. Just be sure he gets through that a little bit clean. We just want to be sure nothing happens to the leader here.
It's crazy. We've ran, 4 green flag laps? We're on the 5th green flag lap, and we're already catching the back end of the pack. Oh,
yeah.
And it looks like we've got the 4 car off of Jay Graves. He spun around as well. Kind of just checking the back here, Sean, while we're following our leader just to see what's going on. But there's several cars that are already starting to get into some trouble.
Well, let's see if we can go back and check and see what went on with Jay Graves. Let's go to a rec replay by Dent Wizard.
Yeah, so going to the Dent Wizard rec replay here, don't think there was a lot of damage. Not sure if he was involved with somebody else. He may have just lost it again.
Yeah.
This track is, yep, there he goes.
It is. Just spins out, and again, if you carry too much speed, if you try to push the pedal going up any of those hills, you're going to spin out because they're just so light.
And we talked about it in the race demo run that we did, Sean. It's all about rolling through those corners. Guys want to get back on the gas early. And here's a tight battle here with the 88 and the 812 of Wampler. They've been running pretty much side by side. The 88 locks it up there on the left front going into the corner, and he makes up some ground on the 812. But we were talking about it earlier. You got to roll through these corners, because if you carry that speed like you're talking about, these corners are flat. These are big, heavy stock cars. They don't like to turn or slow down. So you're going to spin.
No, not at all. And Marshall Stanley just putting on a show. He has opened up a 30-second gap. Is that correct? No, that can't be right. No, it's 6 second. I apologize. 6 second gap from Dean Brummett in second place.
Maybe by the end of the race he'll have a 30-second
That's
gap.
what it seems like, yeah.
but definitely not now. He's still, you can see him hopping those curbs. I mean, he's got that car stable, man. He's got it wound up and raring to go, and there's nobody around him.
You can see he is catching up to that number 13 of Josh Witt there, and hopefully he makes it through cleanly. We just don't want to see lap traffic get in the way here, but Josh is a pretty good driver. Typically he's a good enough guy to not get in the way there, and sure enough, he just lets him right by.
Yeah, you can see him move out of the way. It looks like we've got a car in the grass there, one of the Wild Bill Spears racing cars, and you can see Stanley. He's just already pulling away from the 13 of Witt.
Yeah, he is just on a rail right now.
Looks like the 812 of Wampler is catching up to Lipicki in the 46. This is going to be some good tight racing. It looks like he's going to make the pass. He's going inside. Oh, he locks it up.
Both of them go out.
Oh, man.
That is not good at all.
Little aggressive there. I know they were racing for position. That happens a lot. Again, he locked it up going in that corner. Don't know if we want to go back and take a look at that. You can see that left front tire actually lock up on that car while he was
let's jump back again. Let's see if we can get back. See if we can. And he just gets in a little bit deep.
But that doesn't change the action on track. Oh, he hopped that curb too much. He had the tires locked up. You can see what hitting that curb does. The whole car came off the ground on the left side, threw him to the right, and put him right into the right rear corner of Lipicki. The definite loser in that, though, was the 812 of Wampler. You can see he's got some heavy sheet metal damage. Lipicki looks to be okay.
Yeah, and the question earlier was, can you make it an entire race without stopping here? And we just don't know yet, and so we will find that out here shortly as we keep on moving forward. But there's the 812 no hood. He is going to keep moving and try to get back up there.
Yeah, and looking back further through the field, we got Pettit 23rd, Browning Brandon, Mr. Browning, in 24th. You know, got some guys still back there. Not sure how much ground they're going to be able to make up, even with 23 laps left to go. But there's some cars back there I would have expected to see further up front.
Let's jump back up front and see what's going on. But Marshall Stanley, like we were saying, putting on a show right now.
Yeah, he's catching the 96 pretty quick, and that was who is that, Ruggles?
That's Ruggles, yeah. He's passing him, and then if he's got the 19 right in front of him of Justin Kruckman. Oh, and he's got to go off track to avoid a wreck.
Look like the 78 of David Duke, and what that's going to do for those of you at home that don't know how this works with no cautions, if you miss the track or go off track, it will black flag you temporarily and ask you to slow down and give you a timer. So right there, what Marshall had to do for skipping the bus stop or the chicane there is he had to actually back the car down off of speed for probably about 2 or 3 seconds, just to give up any time he may have gained by taking the shortcut.
And that allowed Dean Brummett to get back to about 5 seconds. And, oh, we got another spin. That's Justin Kruckman. Oh, and Marshall Stanley barely makes it through. Brad Yonkman, he's spinning. He taps Stanley.
He hits our leader.
This is not good at all. Dean Brummett's going to inherit the lead from this. This is going to put Stanley back.
Oh, no, and they're still sliding in front of him. That was not at all what I was expecting. That looked like bumper cars, Sean.
Oh, that was awful. That little narrow stretch, Marshall Stanley is going to have some work to do. He is now 8 seconds behind the leader, Dean Brummett.
Let's put that in perspective. Marshall Stanley runs 8 perfect laps, has 1 spin, no damage, and Dean Brummett catches up with him and puts more time on him in 2 corners than than Stanley was able to put on him the entire first 8 laps of this race.
I don't know.
That's
I mean,
crazy.
I agree. That is absolutely crazy. I was talking to Dean right before the race. He was looking for every spare second that he could find out there on the track. In fact, he reviewed your tape so he could see how to take some corners a little bit better and gain about half a second on the track. So he might be tough to catch.
Well, if he wins, we'll have to ask him how that hurt or helped him after the race, but he definitely is bad fast right now, and I think he smelled a little blood in the water there, so he knew he wasn't losing anything to Stanley. He was gaining just a little bit, but that spin definitely helped him get up there and pass him. He's got a newfound confidence for sure.
All right, now let's recap. So we've got Marshall Stanley in second. He is currently 7.5 seconds back, and then you have Johnson right behind him, so a couple people knocking on his door already.
Yeah, and there's the number 8 of Boyles right behind him. I think he's catching up to him as well. He's definitely not letting him get away, and that was somebody Brandon Browning told us to look out for tonight. I raced with Boyles in the IVCS. He's always tough. Oh!
And the 96, that's Ruggles. He kind of gets a little rear end damage there from Matthew Johnson, so that might hurt Matthew Johnson a little bit.
Yeah, and I don't think Matthew Johnson was expecting that, coming around that corner, trying to accelerate out, and boom, there's a car almost stopped right on the track. That allowed Boyles to get around him. Now Boyles is starting to run off and leave him, and you've got not only Boyles running off and leaving him, but you got Troy Dow, it looks like, right there breathing down his neck.
Yeah, Troy Dow is back there in 7th place. He's catching up to Joseph DuPont, who's up in 6th, and then up Danny Dow, who picked him.
I have messed my own pick there, Sean, but it's okay because he's catching him. That's why I picked him. So as long as he can keep his nose clean and watch out for some of these spinning cars like Marshall Stanley had to deal with, I think he's going to be a contender tonight.
You know what? We are going to stay on this really quick because we really want to see this battle right here between the 3rd, 4th, and 5th place cars. This is the battle for 3rd place. So Boyles goes into the corner. You got Johnson right behind him. Danny Dow desperately trying to catch them.
Yeah, and you can see just on visual there, it looks like that gap between Johnson and Dow is closing. So if I know Dow, once he gets locked onto somebody, he tends to chase him down. If he wants a position, he's going to do everything he can to take it.
They're taking a little bit of a different line there. Oh, and it looks like Corey Knight up there on the Turtles.
Yeah, he's catching him there, the 21 on the 62. Get through about 2 more corners and get up on this banking. I think they're going to be right side by side.
Yeah, this is the tight corner here. We ran some practice a little bit earlier this week. A lot of people slid out right there, but it looks like they took it pretty well.
Right here again, you're going kind of uphill and over, so this is going to be a little off camber as you get back onto the speedway. And he actually lost some ground there. Maybe he smelled a little too much blood in the water.
Well, let's see what it looks like from his view. And now watch how quickly he has to brake right here.
Yeah, again, like we talked about, 4th, down to 3rd, down to 2nd, pray, go, hit some curbing, get that car a little bit airborne, and then hard off that corner, going back into turns 3 and 4 on the speedway.
All right, well, let's run back up front here really quick just to see how we're doing. It looks like Dean Brummett is still up front, but Marshall Stanley closing the gap. He is within 6 seconds now. It was 8 just a lap ago.
Yeah, and you can see that time actually dropping even more, not by much, a few tenths here, a few tenths there. But again, tires, we hadn't talked about them that much, but we know they're going to come into play. The guys were talking about grip on the track. The hotter the track gets, the more it's going to wear these tires, the more slick it's going to get. These corners, again, you want to roll through all these corners. If you get on the gas a little too early or you carry too much speed in, like we see right there with De Silva having to correct a little bit, it's going to throw your entire lap off.
Yeah, and Dean Brummett running into a lot of lap traffic there. That's only going to help Marshall Stanley.
Yeah, it looks like he hasn't lost much more ground since we switched to him, but you see both of them getting up on the speedway there. Stanley's going to have to contend with the 36 car, and this is going to be a really tough place to try and get around him.
Now, that 36, that's Kyle Spees. He's a great racer in his own right. So for Marshall Stanley to be passing him this early in the race is absolutely amazing.
Yeah, and Spees, he's a heck of a race car driver, and I got to tell you, he gets my vote for the best car tonight. Huge Iron Maiden fan. Love that paint scheme on that car.
Oh, absolutely. Let's zoom in on that just so everybody can see exactly what we're talking. There you go. That is a paint scheme.
Yeah, you see Eddie the Monster there. He's the mascot for Iron Maiden. They It's been everywhere. That's the Eddie off of the Power Slave album cover, I do believe, and the Mummy Rats. That's a bad, fast, awesome race car.
That is. Now, he just jumped into the pits. Let's jump back out. We are going to take a look again. Danny Dow, we were talking about him just a little bit earlier. He is now up to 4th. He went ahead and passed Johnson and passed DuPont at the same time.
Yeah, and this camera, wow, you can really get a sense of speed from this camera kind of shaking around there, but you also see that beautiful Paints by Night Silverback Tax Solutions car, that Chevrolet Camaro he's got there that Dow's running for Team SRN. Beautiful hot rod, and he's really making it work.
Well, let's see where the rest of Team SRN is. So you got Danny Dow there. You've got Brandon Browning, just fell back, it looks like, to 22nd, I believe. So he's making a little bit of ground through the pits here. So 21st place, he's next in line for Team SRN, and then we got Danny Setzer back in 23rd with that Frazier Buddha paint job there, and then David Duke back in 28th. We've seen him spin a couple times. Now he's back out on the track without a hood, but hopefully he's running a little bit cleaner now.
Folks at home, we're not partial to Team SRN, but they are our namesake team, and we do race with these guys, and they've not had the season that they've hoped for or that many people have expected, so we definitely want to check on the track and see how they're doing, but not the night that they really wanted to have so far, other than maybe Dow up there in 3rd place.
All right, well, let's jump back up front. We got Dean Brummett still out front, but Marshall Stanley has closed it to just over 2 seconds now, so Marshall Stanley is on the hunt.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's a combination of lap traffic there with Brummett or if maybe he made a mistake somewhere, but that's a lot of time that Marshall Stanley has closed up in a short number of laps. So it's going to get real interesting here, Sean, in another lap or two.
You can see through Marshall Stanley's front window there, you can see Dean Brummett, and so he is going to try to track him down. We'll stick with this view for just a little while. Let's see if he can catch him.
Yeah, and one thing I'll tell you on Stanley's car, and you can see it right there, watch how aggressive this guy gets with the chassis and the race car. You'll actually see him turn opposite of some of these corners because that back end's stepping out on him. So he's real aggressive there, getting down. You see it shimmy a little bit, sending that race car up, getting that right side off the ground right there. See him sliding a little bit, catching that rear end, and now he's hard back on the gas, redlining it all the way up through 2nd to 3rd. Now he's probably going to come around to 4th. There he shifts. Hard on the brakes. They're pitting. They're coming in.
Yeah, they're coming in for new tires, new fuel. So let's jump back out. I believe Justin Boyles is going to inherit the lead here.
And you can see Boyles come through this last tricky little chicane and across the start-finish line in his Oreo Ritz Independent number 8 he's running tonight. And I heard, Sean, that Boyles might be trying to put a team together.
Man, that would be a very formidable team indeed. Just looking at these independents that are out there, if he could put 4 of these independents and just pick 4, any 4, then you are going to have a stellar team.
Yeah, I don't think there's a weak link out there, so to speak, that you could pick. I think any combination of Boyles and 3 other drivers would be a force to contend with in the power rankings for the rest of these guys.
All right, so just to put everything into perspective here, so Boyles just lapped the 25th place car, so only 24 cars on the lead lap right now.
Yeah, and again, we got a lot of guys pitting. This race is going to stretch out, and what I mean by that, the field is going to stretch out. There are no cautions, so you don't get bunched back up. So as these guys pit over a span of 5, 6, 7, 8, even 10 laps to get new tires, fresh tires, new fuel, full tank, you're going to see them spread out. So kind of like a Formula One race, if you have to get your timing right on the pits, if you don't, it ruins your whole strategy, and you might have somebody catch up, take over first place because you pitted too late or too early that you weren't even expecting to have to chase back down.
Let's see who else we have back here. I know things are shaking out because of pit stops and that sort of thing, but moving up into 2nd place, Joseph DuPont, the road course master.
Yeah, and I'm not sure, Sean, maybe you can tell us, has he already done his green flag pit stop for the race?
Let me find out here. No, he has not. He has not pitted yet. First position out there that has pitted is Dean Brummett, and then right behind Dean is Marshall Stanley. So both of them have pitted. That's 3rd and 4th place. So, no, Joseph DuPont has not made a pit stop yet.
Yeah, and I know we just saw Danny Dow duck down on the pit road as well, so we'll have to watch and see where he comes back out. But DuPont, if he's up there running in second, looks like there's about an 11, almost 12-second gap between him and Boyles. But that's just due to the old tires. If DuPont's pedaled this thing really, really well through the first part of the race, he might be able to hang up there, put a big enough gap on the guys that are pitting, and then pit when he needs to, get that fresh rubber, and maintain that lead.
All right, but right on his tail, here's Dean Brummett and Marshall Stanley making the pass for third.
Wow, he drove right by him, and he got up there and got that speed going again. Real aggressive driving by Marshall Stanley. Haven't really seen how Dean's driving tonight. I know you said he was studying right up till the race, but I know he is a good, solid, consistent driver, and it looks like they got a wreck car to tangle with there as they go through the bus stop.
I made it through cleanly, but we've still got a lot of lap traffic there, and that's what we were concerned about with these leaders is once you get into that lap traffic, it's tough to get through them.
Yeah, and I think you called it, Sean. That was when we were doing our pre-race. You said, I think they're going to be fast, but I think they're going to run into a lot of slower cars that are going to hold them up and cause some problems, and you're seeing it. You saw it 8 laps into the race.
Yeah, but Marshall Stanley back in third. Justin Boyles still up there in first place, just passing Krukman there, lapping him. So Justin Boyles just leading this thing. How long can he stay out?
I don't know. I mean, if he saved his stuff, he might be able to stay out for quite a while, but you actually just saw him lose the rear end of the race car there in that off-camber turn. He's getting back up onto the speedway here. Looks like, who is that he's got behind him there, Sean?
That was Krukman right there, but it looks like Joseph DuPont's in second. He is about, 12 seconds back. So Boyles has a big lead right now. Right behind Joseph DuPont, Marshall Stanley. He's already pitted, so he's on fresh tires. He's going to catch up really quickly.
Yeah, and you've got Brummett with the same situation behind him. They're both coming with the quickness, and that's why I was saying that with the car of Krukman there behind him. Krukman's not been near as strong of a car as these leaders have been tonight, but you could see him not losing anything to the 8 car of Boyles there because he's made his pit stop where Boyles is still out there on old tires.
Yeah, and then back here in fifth, Bobby Brill, who got into that first lap accident. He is not pitted yet, but he is making a run. He's trying to get up there with the lead pack just to stay in here.
And that's going to be dangerous, and here's why. Because Bobby Brill drove that thing straight into the barrier. He tore the front bumper. He tore the hood. I think it scared the rear bumper off that car. It took off running. Now he's out there with no sheet metal again. The downforce doesn't matter as much on this track. If he can maintain what he's doing, he's going to come back in, not only get full fuel, fresh rubber, he's also going to get a fast repair and get that metal back on the car.
Yep, 13 laps to go. Marshall Stanley has made the pass for second place. He is trying to track down Boyles. Once again, Boyles has not pitted yet. So he does have a nice big 10-second lead on Marshall Stanley, but Marshall Stanley is on fresh stuff, so he is catching him fast.
And it looks like Witts kind of hit the wall in front of him. He spun out, but I'll tell you what else. They just passed DuPont. It'll be interesting to see. I hope he takes this opportunity to come in and get some fresh rubber in the 88 because he had not pitted either.
That's correct. And it looks like Bobby Brill might be pitting here shortly. Definitely needs to. But then right behind Marshall Stanley, Dean Brummett. So he's going to have to contend with Josh Witt here for a second. And right behind him, that's Joseph DuPont. So we still got a lot of racing going on here. Oh, we have Justin Boyles. Justin Boyles is in the pit, so Marshall Stanley is going to take over the lead. And there he goes.
Now let's see the difference here, getting on the start-finish line versus coming off a pit road. I think Boyles might still maintain a lead. I can't see over to him, but we're going to find out here in just a second. No, he does not.
No, he is definitely behind now. So Boyles is dropping. He's down to third. He's probably going to drop down a little bit further.
Sorry, he must have been entering pit road there, Sean. I thought he was exiting, but because they passed him with the quickness. Would have been curious to see if he was exiting pit road where they came out there with the different exit off of pit road than you normally have on an oval speedway. Here you've got to almost come to a stop and hang a big left to get back on the track and get to the exit cone of pit road.
Yeah, you can see Marshall Stanley right there in the center of the screen, but we love this big view because you can see all the cars absolutely everywhere. And so you saw a car in the grass just a second ago. You can see how difficult this is because Marshall is so fast and these other cars are slowing down so much that Marshall has to slow down some too.
Yeah, and he ran right up on the back of it. Looks like Lipicki there, as he's going to pass him with ease. Excuse me, that's not Lipicki. That is...
I'm not really sure who that was. See if we can jump down and find out here.
Well, either way, I don't think they're racing for position, but definitely you're seeing where the cars get jumbled up after these green flag pit stops.
Yeah, but it's Marshall Stanley out in front. He's opened up a 3-second lead on Dean Brummett there in second in the Stryker Motorsports car. And then Justin Boyle's back on track. He's up in third place. He's going to try to track these guys down, but he's got about a 19-second gap left to second place. So it looks like a two-person race now.
Yeah, the race is definitely between Stanley and Brummett. I mean, they pitted at the right time. The rest of these guys stayed out. They took their chance staying out, trying to get track position, but those old tires were just no match, and these guys ran them down, made them pit, and now they got a gap between them that's going to leave just the two of them contending for the win.
You know, if Stanley can stay clean here through these lap cars, I'm not sure that Dean can catch him.
Well, if he can stay clean. He has a fast race car. He's been the fastest in practice all week. But like you said at the beginning of the broadcast, and they got together real quick with 8 laps in on the race, and here you see him again already having to contend with 2 lap cars in front of him. It looks like the 84 and also in front of him, Adam Pettit.
Well, and some of those cars are really good drivers, but some of them are not the best drivers. And so you have to decide, where do I pass these guys? Do I pass them here on the corner? Do I pass them on a straightaway? Do I give and take? Will they give and take?
Well, you definitely know who you're racing with at this point. These guys have had lots of hours on track practicing. This is their 4th race. Several of them raced in our season 1 of MSM Mid-South Madness last season before we were broadcasting on Speed Racing Network. And they know who they can pass and who they can get aggressive with, and they also know who to sit back from and just wait and see what they do, because a lot of times some of these cars, though they're only 1 car wide, they can seem like 3 cars wide.
All right, well, let's kind of revamp everything here. So Marshall Stanley in first, Dean Brummett from Stryker Motorsports in second, a couple more independents, Justin Boyles and Matthew Johnson in third and fourth. And then you have... Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, it looks like Dow's back up there in the 5th place. We can go back and look at him and DuPont. Those guys have really made their way up there. I know they're battling nose to tail there, but Danny Dow in the 21, Joseph DuPont in the 88 right now running 5th and 6th. And then you got another Dow, Troy Dow in the 2, right behind them in 7th. Not as close to him, but if he can see him, he's going to catch him.
And then Chad Wampler, who got into that wreck a little bit earlier, he's got fresh tires, he's got a fresh car. So he's up there. Stake Dance Racing is making a run. 3 cars in the top 10 right now.
Absolutely, and they don't even have the 6-car Bodler out there on the track. So again, I'm sure he's watching this race, very proud of how they're running. They're putting on a show. And then you got your pick right there in 9th, and Bobby Brill. So he got the sheet metal back on that car?
He does. He's back. So he's got that big thumbs up on the front, and hopefully that's what he's looking like at the end. So he's still got a little bit of work to do to get up there in the cash. We are paying the top 8 this time around.
Yeah, Hausman, Schroeder, Lipicki, Massey. We've talked about Massey. He's had a strong run for Wild Bill Motorsports. He's there in 13th. Zimmerman got in a wreck early. He's back up there in 14th, and Gerwitz is right behind them.
Yeah, and rounding out everything here, so it looks like Stanley's going to pass Jonathan Byer there, and so now only 15 cars on the lead lap.
Yeah, and the 4-car was just getting out of his way there, and it looks like we got Lipicki around again. Not sure if that was a single-car accident or if somebody was involved, but he definitely spun it. No damage to that car as he gets back up to speed.
Well, we've got some time. Let's go back and find out with a Dent Wizard Rec Replay.
Yeah, so with our Rec Replay here, looking at the 46 of Lipicki, he's running there against the 44 from Stryker Motorsports. Let's see if they get together.
No, he just spins it.
Yeah, it looks like he just lost control, kind of got up on the turtle shells and the rumble strip there, and didn't have enough traction on the rear end.
It looks like we may have another wreck out there. Let's see, Joe Ruggles in the 96. Looks like he's going to do the same thing. He's just going to spin it.
Yeah, it looks like he just got...
Oh, wait, and up front, Marshall Stanley. Oh, not sure what happened there. It's not showing the replay. Oh, yeah. Oh, he got in with some lap vehicles there. Oh, Marshall Stanley once again in a wreck. Dean Brummett again takes the lead after a wreck.
Oh, wow. And look, and now they're junked up right there. They're all put together. Going to be interesting to see. Lepicki, his second spin on that lap, he's going to get real aggressive here. But Dean Brummett, he's got clear in front of him so far. We'll see if he can pull away from these guys.
He's only 2 seconds ahead. There's Marshall Stanley there on the outside. If Marshall Stanley can get through. Oh, nope. Marshall Stanley gets spun by Jay Graves.
Oh, he saved it. He's back up to speed. But again, look at these lap cars passing him. He's going to have to get through all these guys to get back to Dean Brummett.
Oh, Dean Brummett just opened up a 5-second lead because of all that.
Yeah, and look who has cut the time in half because of all that. Boyles was 30 seconds back. He's now down to 16 seconds. Still got 8 laps to go. Anything could happen.
All sorts of damage going on out there. Really, really interesting race so far.
It is. Again, we knew it was going to be a pretty fast race without having the full course cautions, but we are definitely getting our money's worth here tonight. And actually, these guys have been racing pretty strong. All of the incidents have been really what looks to be mostly single car incidents where the car is spun and ended up collecting somebody else. So they haven't been racing really close together. They've been giving each other a lot of room.
Yeah, but man, when you get these little narrow straights, there is nothing that anybody can do. And at that point, it's just luck whether or not the leader hits it or not.
It is. I mean, I've seen some incidents where not just the leaders, but several of these cars running into some of these spun cars, they could slow down a little more maybe, but I'm not in that seat, so I'm not feeling that adrenaline, feeling that pulse pumping. I can tell you on several occasions, including my IVCS race this last week, I could have slowed down more in a couple of instances too. So we'll see. Stanley's on pit road coming off. We'll see where he ends up.
Looks like he's going to end up in 4th coming off of pit road. He's got a lot of ground to make up here. He's 37 seconds behind the leader.
Yeah, and John, we've only got 7 laps to go. That's not a lot of time on this track. You can lap this track pretty quick. Wow. Dean almost caught the 90 of Corey Knight there, too.
Yeah, I mean, all sorts of carnage out there, and that's what happens on these road courses. But look at who's up front. Oh, we're going to have a nice little battle up here. We got Troy Dow up in 3rd place. I'm sorry, in 5th place. Danny Dow in 3rd place.
Yeah, Danny Dow there in 3rd, and look who is coming quick behind him. Just 4 seconds off is Stanley.
That's right.
See if he can negotiate lap traffic here.
Let's see what Stanley's seeing, because he is going to be pushing harder than ever now to try to get back up there.
Yeah, he can see down his windscreen. They're coming down here. Oh, man, look at that closing rate he's got. 4 cars been a little tricky to get around tonight. He's been quite a bit slower than the leaders. If he can just clear him right here. I know the 18 of Browning knows this track pretty well. But it'll be interesting to see how tough it is to get around the 18.
And he'll just go right past him, and then here comes Danny Dow in his sights.
Yeah, look at Stanley. He's a mad man right now. He is wheeling that race car. You can see that wheel turning one direction, then turning right back the other like that. He's catching that rear end. Just
like that, he's back up in 3rd place, still 32 seconds behind the leader. Out front, Dean Brummett. He has a huge lead, a 13-second lead over Justin Boyles. If he can keep this clean, he's going to win this race.
His team owner's going to be happy. He doesn't even have a scratch on that race car.
Well, this will be his 2nd win in the last 3 weeks. And this could be Stryker Motorsports' 3rd win in a row.
Isn't that crazy? Stryker Motorsports' last-minute entry into this season before he got up and running. And these guys have put on a heck of a performance through week 4.
Oh, it's been great. Now, I'll say that that his teammates are kind of back a little ways. Looks like Andrew Schroeder back in 12th place and Travis Trevelyan back in 20th, a lap down. So they've still got a little bit of running. But, hey, 3 top 20s, that's not that bad on this track.
No, absolutely not. And you can see Dean there. I mean, he's got that car under control. He's just cruising at this point. 5 laps to go.
Yeah, but, 3 top 20s is good. 3 top 10s is even better. You got Chad Wampler, Stan Hausman, and Troy Dow all in the top 10 for Stake Dance Racing right now.
Well, we did talk to their team captain. He wanted to have a stacked race team coming into the season. I know they haven't necessarily had all the results they were looking for, but tonight's really the night that I think they were hoping for.
All right, and hopefully we get a little bit of fun here, because Troy Dow is on the tail of somebody. He's on his father's tail.
Is he chasing down Danny Dow?
He's trying to chase down his own dad. So let's see who the real Dow really is here.
Well, I think I said a couple of weeks ago, 2 Dows don't make a right, but they haven't raced this close together either. So I know they've been practicing a lot together, or they haven't meant to practice together. We'll say they've been on the same track together during practice, but they just seem to find each other. And when they are together, they go at each other with who's fastest lap, who can get in front of who. So this will be really, really exciting if we can get about 5 seconds made up here before the end of the race and they can get together.
All right, but up front still, Dean Brummett from Stryker Motorsports. He's still got about a 13-second lead on Justin Boyles. 4 laps to go. Justin's got some work to do.
Yeah, and Justin's really cut that gap down. I mean, he was at 31, 32 seconds, I think, at one point when we first cleared all of our green flag pit stops. Through some spinning and some slowing down from Marshall and from Dean there, he cut that in half, and it was about 16 seconds. Now he's down to 12 and a half, but he's only got 4 laps to go. I don't see him catching up to Dean in this case.
No, it would take a lap car taking Dean out, like has happened a couple times to Marshall Stanley tonight.
Yeah, but it's happened to Marshall Stanley. It's happened a couple of times. It hasn't happened to any of these other guys, so maybe it's just luck of the draw in tonight's race that he's been the one caught up in those accidents. Hate it for him. He's still running good. He's back up there in 3rd place, actually, so he's still going to get a good finish here if he can just hang on to it.
Well, let's jump back one more time. We're gonna do one more gopher cam while we still have a chance with Brookstone Animal Hospital.
And you can see these cars, look at them as they hit that curbing. The suspension is so tight on these cars, it actually throws that side of the car up in the air. A lot of drivers can prefer that because it's almost like running on a razor's edge. It makes that other side still on the pavement connect and really roll through the corner. If you can get a car to do that and you know how to control it, then you're going to make up some time coming through these chicanes.
Well, we appreciate Brookstone Animal Hospital and their sponsorship of these gopher cams, as well as their sponsorship for the award at the end of the season for the Man's Best Friend Award.
Yeah, and that's going to be interesting to see how these drivers vote. Again, there are a lot of good guys out here, a lot of classy guys in this field. I would say most everybody in the field is. So it's who's who of who the vote is on that one right now, Sean.
Well, don't look now because Brummett might have some company soon. Boyles has knocked off another 2.5 seconds, and he's closing quickly.
Yeah, again, 3 laps to go, though. That's a really, really tight. At that closing rate, I don't think he's going to catch him, or if he does, it's going to be right at the end. So we'll see how much more ground he can make up.
And while we were away from the battle, Troy Dow has passed a few people. He's still up there with Danny Dow. He's still just a few 5 seconds behind his father. And man, we're kind of rooting to see if he can get up there and make it a fun race at the finish line.
Well, I'd like to see it be a fun race. Still like to see Danny place in the top 3 or top 4 or at least close to the podium. He was my pick tonight, but there will be some excitement if those two can get side by side.
But Dean Brummett, 2 laps to go till he gets to the finish line. Again, 9.5 seconds, so that time is falling. I'm not sure if it's going to fall fast enough.
And I don't think it will unless he gets up here in some lap traffic. He does have the 55 in front of him. I think most of these guys are just going to let him go by at this point with 2 laps to go. I don't think there's anybody really racing to get a lap back or trying to race for position that's a lap down. So it'll be interesting to see, but definitely not enough time in 2 laps at the current pace for Boyles to catch up to him and give him a run.
Well, Dean's going to be extra careful here around the 55. See if he can get past him cleanly.
Now, we'll tell you, though, 1 spin by the 25, and we're racing again for first place.
You bet we are, and that's why he's taking it extra slow. He is not even trying to pass him there. Playing nice.
Gave him a little chrome horn there and said, hey, I'm here in first. I'm trying to run to the end. If you don't mind, just move out of my way, and you go your way and I'll go mine. And that's what he did right there, just giving him a little love tap to the 55.
White flags coming by this time around. White flag for Dean Brummett, 8-second lead right now. If he keeps it clean, he is going to be the first 2-time winner in MSM this year.
Absolutely, and he's kept that car clean. He's ran a good race. Hate to see what's happened to Marshall Stanley, getting caught up in some lap car accidents, but still, we've got to get around this beast one more time. Anything could happen.
That's right. Let's see if there's anybody in front of him here. Yeah, it looks like clear skies out in front of him. Looks like a couple of drivers up front. Looks like the 44, that's his teammate.
Yeah, and Sean, these guys are racing side by side. It might cause some problem if he gets up there to them. They're still doing it, but it looks like they get away clean, and he's just going to have single cars to pass.
And all he has to do is bring it home nice and clean. I don't even think he's going to try to pass these two.
He won't if he doesn't have to, but I can tell you what, 6 seconds. That's the gap right now. Not that he's going to make it up, but it's closing.
Dean Brummett, he has basically 2 more turns. One big straightaway here around this big corner, and then one more nice, tough, tight turn, and then he is home free.
And that last little chicane there, it's very technical. You got to get that car woed up big time. You can see him there. You can see the flames coming out the pipes. He's slowing it down. One more turn, and we have our race winner.
Dean Brummett wins the Between the Lines 70 here at the Roval. Congratulations to our first 2-time winner.
Yeah, congratulations, Dean Brummett. Justin Boyle's there. What a run at the end, coming in second place. And Marshall Stanley coming in third. Way to bring it home with a podium.
Danny Dow will take 4th place away from his son, Troy Dow.
I don't know. It's 1 second right here. They're still coming around. They still got some racing to do. Let's see if Troy's got anything up his sleeve on this last set of corners.
We might have some fun here. Oh, he cut the corner. Oh. Yeah, that's not going to help him. So he's going to have to slow down a little bit.
Enough time behind him that he's still going to come in 5th. So the Dows with a 4th, 5th place finish. And it looks like we've got Johnson, another independent, coming in there in 6th. Wampler behind him from Stake Dance. What a good run.
Yeah, and Bobby Brill, my pick, he ended up in 8th after that first turn crash. So a nice run for him to stay up on the lead lap.
Yeah, Joseph DuPont there. Good win for him, or good finish for him, top 10. You know, DuPont probably had a little bit faster car, but we didn't see a lot of those spins and who they collected tonight because we didn't have the cautions. So I'm sure a lot more cars got damaged or spun around than we actually got to see, Sean.
Well, let's take a look and see if we can get our winner up here in the booth. Let's see if we can talk to Dean Brummett.
Let's see if we can grab him here.
Dean Brummett, you have a copy?
I've got you, buddy. 10-4.
Hey, man, we were just talking right before the race. I know you were working on a few corners. We were watching some video together and trying to help your turns out a little bit. What changed?
Man, it was just I think the weather conditions changed as much as anything. Car, the first part of the race was just trying to feel what it was, what exactly it was that the car wanted. And after the first pit stops, the second set of tires that got bolted on this thing, I mean, it was just absolutely phenomenal. I mean, it stuck like crazy. And I don't know if it was driver confidence or mechanical confidence, but it just went real good. I was telling Marshall Stanley, I hate to see him lose out on it that way, man. I mean, he absolutely had the best car all night. And I went down into turn 1 on the big wreck. Saw the partial course yellow waving, and went down in there, came out of that first little heartburn turn, and I saw everybody kind of stopped, and in the process of doing so, it was just I had one little gap to shoot through. Was just able to kind of go out to the wall and then cut in, and it really didn't hinder my lap. I mean, I maybe lost a half a second on it, but like I said, it was just these road course races, especially at something like here, the Roval, it's a whole lot of luck. It's a lot of short track, a lot of super speedway. And like I said, I don't think I've got a scratch on this car. I don't think I had an incident 0.1. So like I said, a whole lot of luck and just keeping her clean.
Dean, you ran a heck of a race there. And once you got past Stanley, you were off and running. What kind of difference is a race like this to the driver? Is it mentally taxing on you to run around a road course like this in these cars?
This one especially, given that this was the first ever time that I ran a race on this track. So, just not really knowing what you were going into and grip kind of varying. it was definitely a little mentally taxing going into it, and going down into turn one on the very first lap. I just see smoke and a car fly past me, and I was like, "Oh God, this is going to be the end of the race." But I was fortunate enough to go through and not wreck it out. So it was definitely a little interesting there.
Well, man, Dean, congratulations. Did a great job today. We are going to let you go and celebrate. We will talk to you hopefully next week.
Hey, absolutely. Stryker Motorsports, 3 weeks in a row, we have won. So I'm expecting those power rankings look pretty good this week.
I think they might.
All right. Take care, Dean. Congratulations.
We're going to Charlotte Victory Lane.
Woo! All right. Let's see if we can get Justin Boyles in here. So one of our independent drivers, really strong finish there.
Hey, Justin, Sean and Thomas up in the booth. You got a copy?
Got you.
Hey, Justin, good run tonight. I know you were trying to make that pace up there at the end after the green flag pit stops. You were right around 30 seconds down, ended up, I think, 5 or 6 seconds back, chasing him down there. What was it like being out there? What was the toughest part of the race tonight?
I think when the tires went away, right about the time we started catching lap traffic, so that made it a little interesting. But I think a combination of tire fall off along with lap traffic made it a little tricky. It's tough to navigate that many cars.
You know, Justin, you are kind of an expert on all tracks. We've seen you race on ovals. We've seen you race on roads and everything. Done pretty well on just about every track that we've seen you on. How do you practice differently between a road course and an oval course?
You know, a lot of road courses is the majority of the practice is just finding a smooth line. You can come out and hot lap it and run 2 laps and then slam the wall and reset and do it over and over again. And, you'll be fast. You'll probably qualify well, and that'll help. But road courses are just all about being smooth and finding that spot where there's a very fine line of speed and control. And that's even finer when you're talking about road courses. With ovals, you're chasing things down to the 100th of a second. Road courses, I think you're just trying to make sure you kind of ignore the lap times, and if it feels good, it's probably good.
Justin, one more question for you before we let you get back to it. There was a rumor going through the garage pre-race that you might be trying to put a team together. What do you got to speak to on that?
We're trying to cook a little something up. Trying to convince that 00 to come over and join us. And man, I wish we'd had that set up today. Just trying to put something together. If we're going to keep running, we might as well share information and help each other out. So,
man, that would be a tough team. So, good luck to you on that. Hope that comes together. It would be great to have a 10th team in this league.
Yeah, man, appreciate it, guys. Thank y'all for the broadcast. I'm about to go watch it, and I'm sure it's a good one. Y'all have a good night.
All right, thanks, buddy.
Take care.
All right, and let's see if we can get Marshall Stanley in here before we sign off.
Yeah, I was looking to see if we can find him.
He's down in Rev'd right now.
There he is. So we're going to grab Marshall, and we're going to move him up.
Hey, Marshall, how's it going, buddy?
I'm good, just kind of calming down and
I know that's disappointing.
Yeah, it was a very tough run, man, but good run nonetheless.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. I mean, considering the circumstances and having to pit twice, I think third's a great finish considering the last 2 weeks I just didn't have good finishes at Bristol and Atlanta. And I mean, I obviously had the pace for the win there, and circumstances said otherwise, and that's just racing sometimes.
Well, so how hard were you going there at the end? I mean, I know you were roughly 20 seconds down at one point. You really started shaving off time little by little. Did you think you had a shot there at the end?
Honestly, once the accident happened, I knew then just the suspension was messed up, engine was damaged for sure. So I knew the only way I would at least have a chance to stay somewhere in the top 3 was pit and just take new tires and go for it. And yeah, pretty much those last 8 or 9 laps, I was driving like a pissed off teenager. I really didn't have any regard for anybody else, which is probably not the right thing to do. But honestly, I was just at that point where I wanted the race to end and move on.
Yeah, we were talking earlier with Dean about running these road courses and running these types of cars on these road courses. It always seems that there's kind of a mental aspect to it too. It'll wear you out. Did you feel that early on in the race at all? Did you have any kind of what was taxing on you throughout that race? I guess would be my question.
Honestly, the main thing that I was worried about, at least from the start, was once I got kind of a gap, I just managed tires, because I knew tires going 15, 16 laps were going to wear, and you're pretty much going to be wheel spinning in most places. So once I kind of got a gap, I had enough to where I thought I could just manage. And then the main thing to deal with was getting through traffic, which I thought was going to be the main problem today, and lo and behold, it was.
Well, man, we really appreciate you running, and we loved watching you all week long. You were up at the top of leaderboards pretty much all week. I know a lot of people were looking at a strong run. You still had a strong run, just not exactly what you were hoping for, I think. So,
yeah, that's racing sometimes.
Yeah.
Well, Marshall, I'm sure you're going to put in the same amount of work this week, and we will see you when we go into week 5 here on MSM. But good run tonight, man.
Yeah, thanks, man. Appreciate all you guys do, and can't wait to watch the broadcast tonight regardless. It'll be fun to see all the eventful things that I missed.
All right, buddy. Well, have a great night.
All right, thank you.
See ya.
All right, Thomas, let's talk about next week. We've got Mid-South Madness week 5.
Shake and bake, baby. We're going to slingshot engage in the Shake and Bake 185 at Talladega Super Speedway. Looking forward to it. We've had one plate track already in Daytona this season. That's 2 plate tracks in 5 weeks. You've heard SRN. They're gunning for it. We know those guys are aggressive on those tracks. We're going to see who can rise to the top next week and who can avoid all of that unnecessary carnage we see on those plate tracks.
Yeah, man, it's going to be a tough race. It's going to be a very tight, packed race, and I think we might even have 43 drivers next week, so that's going to make it even more difficult.
That will be awesome. Looking forward to calling it with you here in the booth, Sean.
All right, man. Well, we will see everybody next week for the Shake and Bake 185 at Talladega Super Speedway. But for now, everyone, please have a great night. We will see you next week.